I have to go right now. I'm sorry, but thank you for the number, and I definitely will call back. Sorry we couldn't do it right now. You have a good one. Bye. Oops, wrong button. Wrong button. There we go.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddy Grace Webben.
And today we'll be talking about the second part of Septerra Core, covering everything up until we get to the bar on Shelf 4. It's the moment you get to Shelf 4. But before we get to all of that, how is everyone's week?
Eli, has your week gotten any better?
It's, yeah.
Well, you see, the thing about implosion is once it implodes, it can't implode
Sam,
any
stop
farther.
saying that. You're just making it worse every time.
Oh, there's always.
Also,
room
have you
for
heard of a
implosion.
black hole? You can always implode it more. Infinite density.
Yeah, I have not become a black hole yet, so there's that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everything's more or less okay. I fucked up at work and came in late last week and then forgot to email my manager about it. So hopefully I'm not in trouble. I did call it out in our chat, but apparently that was not sufficient. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm always teetering on the brink of unemployment.
Oh, me too.
And that's on anxiety.
Yeah. I have no confidence in myself or my abilities, so whee! But yeah, I mean, I'm managing.
Speaking of employment, I had a weird job interview today. So I had a video interview on Friday, and they were like, hey, we'll be in touch. And then like an hour later, they're like, hey, are you still interested in the position, even though we talked like an hour ago? And I'm like, hell yeah. They're like, okay, well, we want you to come in for a job shadowing interview on Monday morning. And I'm like, cool. So I put in PTO with my current job, went over there this morning. And apparently job shadowing interview meant like first day orientation, you know, like the first day on the job when your boss will show you where all the break rooms are and where all the bathrooms are and like where everybody sits. That's what he did today and asked me no questions and then sent me on my way. So I have no idea. I think that means I have the job if he didn't feel he needed to ask me anything, but it just like the place, like it will be an on-site job, which is like bleh, but like it's okay. The place is huge, and I'd be one of 20 people in the whole building, so I'm not worried about it. But it still's like, I have to actually leave my house, and I can't just go to work in my pajamas every day. And so, but like I had to drive over to Cottage Grove, which is like a 20-minute drive. So I drove 20 minutes, was there for 15 minutes, drove 20 minutes back, and I'm like, what the fuck ever, I guess. So hopefully that means I got the job, but it was one of the most bizarre things I've ever done. And I don't know what the point was, but that
is very strange. Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
But
who knows at all?
Congratulations, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Congratulations,
mark.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the job offer yet, like an offer letter that like says, hey, we're going to pay you this much, or like have not signed anything besides the thing that said I didn't have COVID today. So like they have none of my information, haven't done any drug screenings or anything that means I actually got the job, but I had my orientation today, it feels like. So who knows? But the other cool thing that happened to me this week is we had a blizzard, which, by the way, blizzards aren't things they make up to be plot points in Christmas movies. Those are real.
Blizzard's the thing you get at Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
Sam, come on. How can you forget such a thing?
But, yeah, so blizzards are real, and we had one this week, and it was like, it wasn't like a huge blizzard, like where like I can't leave the house, but like when I stepped in the snow, it was like 6 inches of snow I think the official like quote unquote inches of snow that we got was like 3.7 or whatever, but because of wind and all that other bullshit, it was like 6 inches of snow in our backyard. And the snow's still there, and it's going to stay there for a long time. And all of our northern listeners are like, of course, that's what snow does. But me, little southern boy, had seen snow 4 times in his life, is freaking out that like I can look out my window and it's a winter wonderland, and it's fucking weird, and it's great, and I love it. And we made snowmen, and it was cute.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. One final thing that happened to me this week is so next month the new Digimon trading card game comes out, and this week, like, one of the like most expensive, like, manpower wise stupid things I've ever seen anyone do, but they made a video game to teach you how to play the physical card game. It is not a full-on like Hearthstone of the new Digimon card game, but it like looks and feels like one, and it's just the tutorial battles worth, and it's bizarre. But that means I got to play the new Digimon trading card game, and it's really good. So have you guys ever actually played Pokemon cards, or just collected them like
Yeah,
a lot?
of course.
I used to play them pretty regularly. Yeah.
Yeah, so Pokemon is kind of like Magic, but instead of life points, you have your 6 cards on the side or whatever, but otherwise you're still playing mana to pay for abilities, etc. And I don't like it. I don't like the Pokemon trading card game. It's kind of just meh. The Digimon trading card game is like they looked at the Pokemon one, and they're like, this has some good ideas, but it doesn't do anything with them. Like, your 6 cards put to the side are just 6 cards put to the side in Pokemon, but in Digimon, those are your security cards, and like every card has a security effect. And so like if somebody takes one of your life points and your card goes away, it has an effect that'll trigger, and things go off like that. And so it's like it improved upon the Pokemon in that way. You summon monsters and like digivolve them and stuff, kind of like you do in Yu-Gi-Oh, when you're like, you have summoning costs and stuff. And then the coolest part about it is the resources. So instead of mana or mana crystals in Hearthstone or anything like that, it's a number line that goes from +10 to -10, and every time you make it cross 0, it changes person whose turn it is. So I can play a 10 cost monster on the first turn, but then the other person gets 20 to play off of if he wants it. And so you're like balancing how much do I want to get done versus I don't want to give my opponent too much of a turn next turn. And it's really awesome, and I'm really excited to play the full game and not just the tutorial battles next month, which is really cool.
That slaps.
Yeah, love it. So if you guys want to get on the ground floor of a trading card game, it's actually really fun. You should, because it's great.
I will not.
I know you won't. I know that. One of my favorite things about doing the podcast is there are several times when I am physically talking to you guys, but I am talking past you guys for the Matts and the Francescos and everything else.
I was listening to all of that, and I find it very interesting. I'm just not going to play it.
Yeah. Yes. But other than that, I rebuilt my computer and put Linux Mint on a second partition, and so I'm officially a nerd because I have a Linux distro in my house. But what about you, Maddy? How was your week?
Well, first of all, what you're calling Linux should be more accurately called GNU/Linux, or as I like to say, GNU plus Linux. I'm just kidding. I'm done. No, my life was my life. I'm just putting some words together right now. I've had a pretty good week. Let's see what's going on. I bought a fuck ton of Christmas presents after being way too poor, way too broke for 2 years to buy Christmas presents. I didn't buy anyone presents 2018. I didn't buy anyone presents 2019. I felt really sad about that. So I finally have some money, and I've been saving up each month, putting a little bit of budget money aside for Christmas stuff. and that's really exciting to me. That I can actually do this because I like to do it, and I feel lame when I can't. So I spent around $250 on Christmas presents. I don't think I'm there yet. I think I'm but I was putting in $20 a month, and 20 times 12 is 240. So that's about right. Although I had to truncate my some of the gifts were more expensive than expected, so I had to truncate my list. I got Sam a present. Eli, I'll get you a present once I decided what to get you. I haven't figured it out yet. You're harder to buy for than Sam.
Maddie messaged me at like 1 a.m. my time, like, hey, what should I get Eli for Christmas?
Sam was easy. I just literally wrote nerd shit in my spreadsheet. I was like, I could think of 10 billion things I could get Sam because it's not hard. Anyway, I got 2 people left that don't have presents yet. But it was really fun and I really enjoyed it. And in addition to that, the political work I vaguely alluded to, I am now more into, which is really exciting. Long story short, I'm on a research team doing a heck ton of research about some local policies and different. There's like an entire committee that exists in the state of California that is in charge of certain things, and I'm like investigating what the heck this committee is, who's on it, who pays for it, who donates money to the people who are on the committee, what kind of subcommittees does it have, what's each one in charge of. So I'm like pouring through their websites and like reading their like reading like their meeting minutes, and reading like, oh, last week they passed this. Oh, well, what's this? It's really exciting. It's really, really fun. And it's for some long-term plans that we have. But I think I found, like, yesterday I was diving into it, and after a few hours I was like, this rules. I love this. But also I had to stop because my brain hurt. And that's it. Everything else, I am simply bripping. No, we're all good. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and I'm having a good one.
Nice. So let's listen to the Shell 5 song, and then we'll talk about the plot this week. I don't remember much about the Shell 5 song. I just know we must have heard it because we completed the Shell 5 chapter this week. So when we last left our heroes, we were too late in warning the army of the Seven Winds that they were being betrayed. So we got Corkin on our team, and we fled through the catacombs to get out of Dodge. And the big important man of the army was deaded, and his daughter Layla is now in charge. On the way out of the catacombs, we fight Vegeta and Rurouni Kenshin twice, and both times Chrono seems to not want to do this anymore. And spoilers for the beginning of next week, Chrono joins the team because I saw him as part of the team when I was looking up where we're going to stop.
It's a little funny. We kicked their ass. We kicked their ass. And then a little while later, we kicked their ass again. And they never really explain it. They're just like, we'll get them. And I'm like, are y'all stronger than you were last time? Because we're the same level of strong as we were last time.
Yeah, there has not been enough mobs for us to have leveled up between our 2 boss fights. We've fought 3 fights.
This is going to be the same fight again. Like, why are you doing this? And then after the second time, he's just like, maybe fighting's bad. And I'm like, bitch, you say that now after we just kicked your ass twice. Like, come on.
So we make our way through the catacombs and then the cemetery, fighting a whole lot of really interesting layouts for the Tonberry zombies, and they're great, except there's a little too many, and I got really bored of them by the time I got through it. especially because me and Maddy both took the wrong exit, so we had to fight them all twice.
Yeah, I got a little. Well, so this game does this thing where whenever you need to give an item to someone, you have to actually go to your inventory, click on the item, and then click on the person before talking to them. And that's not how games normally work, right? Normally, if you get a key item in your inventory, and you talk to a person, either they'll be like, hey, you found it. Or at least when you talk to them and then it has the different dialogue choices, one of them will be like, give the thing, right? So I went in just a second, we're going to have to do a thing where we go and get a thing and then bring it back and give it to someone. And when I brought it back, there was no dialogue choice to give it to her. So I thought, oh, maybe I wasn't supposed to give it to her. So then I just went on my merry way and went through the zombie dungeon. And then later I was like, oh, I got to go back through the zombie dungeon again, don't I? Damn it.
Damn it. So we make it through the catacombs in the cemetery, and we make it to a snowy mountain pass. And Layla is like, hey, we can't take back Wind City without help. So we need Corgan, I need you to go down to Shell 5 and get their armies so they can come and help us fight off the Chosen. And we're like, okay, cool. And Maya's like, hey, so Doskius fucked up my city, and I don't want that to happen to anyone else. So I'm going to come and join you. And Layla's like, cool. Thank you for helping us. First, can you go and get some supplies that are hidden in Armstrong that we keep a second supply cache away from the main city. Let's use those to build our war effort to go get our homeland. And we're like, cool. Absolutely. We'll go do that. And Corgan is like, Armstrong is across these mountains. It's super treacherous. It is very hard to navigate. You'll never get through them without me. And it is a hallway dungeon. There is not even a slight deviation where you could potentially get lost. There is only one path, and it goes completely straight.
And the mobs are all like wolf enemies, and they're not palette swap wolf enemies. I'm pretty sure they're just the ones we were fighting a while ago because they're super easy.
Yeah, like I'm like one hit killing all of them.
Treacherous mountains ever.
We make it
mountains ever.
So we make it to Armstrong, and it's been razed to the ground. Whoopsies. Selena is like,
picked a whole bouquet of whoopsie daisies.
Yep. Selena is like, hey, dudes, enough killing. But the troops are all like, but Disgaea says that we got to kill everybody, and Selena doesn't seem to like that at all.
Are you calling him Disgaea?
Disgaea.
Disgaea.
So yes. So we show up, and Corgan blames her for raising Armstrong to the ground, which, like, true, her fault. And so we fight about it, but after we win the fight, she says that this fight is wrong, and she leaves. And we also get the barrier card. Maddy, how great is the barrier card?
Oh, it's so fucking good. It makes sense because the enemies operate according to the same rules that we do, as we learned this week, by the way. You should make sure to mention that ability. Turns out the enemies do in fact follow the same battle mechanics as we do, so that really, really annoying barrier spell we were whining about last time that, like, makes it where it's like, hey, what if the battle wasn't any harder, but it took way longer because your attacks do 15 damage instead of 55? Well, now we have it.
Hell yeah. And it's great. It's a literal 50% cutoff for every element. And if you mix it with your other cards for that one, you have to have two people in a ready state, and then one of them use an element card, the other one use barrier. Then that barrier that you put on them is still 50% across the board, but then that element is an additional 25%, so 75% reduction. Which means basically, if you're having any sort of trouble, just put barrier on everybody, and then you win because they're doing piddly damage.
Use it because magic is really, really expensive, but it's like, oh, if you actually need to do it, then the battle's easy now.
Yeah. And it's great. The ability Maddy was referencing is Corgan's special ability. We haven't really talked about it, but everybody except for Maya, because Maya is the protagonist and therefore she has to suck. But everybody has a second row of abilities. Presumably, as we get through the game, everybody will have more and more. But right now, there's a second row, and so your top row is just light attack, medium attack, strong attack. But then your second row, like that's where runners steal is, and that's where grubs repair is, and Corgan, that's his name. Corgan's is basically scan. I forget what it's called. I think it's observe, but he gets scan, and so you can cast on an enemy, see their HP and also their readiness meter. So you can see, oh, they're storing up for a strong attack because they just let it get past one turn.
So the enemies have a 3-section meter just like we do, which explains a lot about what's been happening in the battles, because they have seemed to have a lot of variety in how strong their fucking attacks are. But yeah, it's like, oh shit, now you can like look at it. It really adds a layer of strategy. It's cool as hell.
Yeah, I really like it. So we make our way through Armstrong. It is mostly a dungeon. We get in, we get the supplies, we swear vengeance, and then we get out. Meanwhile, we see Selena and Disgaea 4, Alliance of Vengeance, doing flirting, and it's gross. Like, neither of them seem consensual in the flirting that's happening, and it's yucky. I don't like it.
I really hate it. Like, I know I've said that a lot about this game.
No, they're fucking gross.
Yeah, it's weird.
Want.
So, Disgaea D2, a brighter darkness, tells Selena to cut off supply lines to the smaller towns on Shell 3 so that people will die because they're dogs and not human. But I personally wouldn't want to genocide dogs either. So Disgaea is definitely the villain of the piece. He dismisses her and hurts her feelings, of course. And then the Magi, which are the color-coded dudes who exploded the Junker earlier, they're on the cover of the manual. They've shown up randomly with no explanation twice now. They come in and are like, don't be too hard on her or she'll leave you. And he's like, I don't give a shit. She's a peasant and only noble blood can have my offspring. So
he makes it real weird.
In case you haven't missed it, he's the villain of the piece. He's a skis. And so then he turns and leaves, and it turns out that Selena was hanging back and heard his mustache twirling. So she's like, what do? I love him for some reason still. And it's gross. I do not approve of this shit. It's bad.
No, I don't like it. Yeah, no, they're good. Yeah. Luckily,
it don't last long.
Yeah, luckily it's not gonna last very long. Remember that thing about how if he keeps treating her like shit, she's gonna leave?
Yep. So back with us, Corgan is like, I'm not going to let what happened to Armstrong happen to anyone else. I'll kill the chosen bastards who did this with my hands. And Layla's like, well, the chosen are already leaving, so like they have completed the invasion, and now they just have people stationed here, and so the fighting force is leaving. So you should leave and go after them. And it's like, oh, where are they going? And it's like, oh, they're going to Shell 5. When we're like, how do we get to Shell 5? And she's like, you have to go to the Helgak port. So then there's like an hour and a half of gameplay where we go back and forth across Shell 3 and have to get passports, but only after we talk to the right NPCs so that we can go through the catacombs to get back to the thing. And it's this whole thing, and that's not important. We could have just bought passports. But hey, it has world building, which is nice.
It has my favorite scene in the episode, but I'll share it later.
Yeah. So we bring the passport to the Helgak port and we hitch a ride to Shell 5. But wanted you to know, them dim darn Jinam and Ankarans blow our ship the fuck up, and we crash hard. There's an FMV, but it's mostly just men shouting war at each other. But it looks cool, but it's not important what happens in it. we wake up and Maya is all alone in a family's house on Shell 5, and you have to get the party back together. Love when you have to get the party back together. It's a great RPG trope. If you're like me, you instantly leave the town to go find them, and you have to make your way across this giant dungeon I'm about to talk about twice because you forget Corgan. But it's also really hard because you forgot Corgan, and the mobs are hard. But
to rephrase that, one of the party members is in the town where you start. The other two are on the other side of a dungeon. So maybe get another party member before you go across the dungeon. Actually, I wasn't sure either because I did hear that Corgan was in there, but I couldn't figure out what to do. So I left and thought, I didn't think there's going to be a whole fucking dungeon, right? So once I got to the dungeon, after just like 2 fights, I was just like, I bet I'm supposed to have Corgan. So luckily I took the hint and went back and figured it out. But yeah.
I did not, and it completely breaks scripting if you don't have Corgan down in a bit, and it like was so frustrating, and I had to look it up and found out that I was supposed to have Corgan already.
Oh damn.
But anywho, I in the good timeline, I'm walking around town and you hear that Corgan was arrested for killing 20 men. No big deal. So we give him his sword so he can break out of jail and kill a couple more men. Because it's like at no point is it like, oh, the Jinam are actually evil or the Ankarans are actually evil. It's like, no, both people are having a huge misunderstanding. It's costing the average person their life. So let's kill a lot of them. Let's just kill all of them. It's fine. And so yeah, we break our mass murderer friend out of jail, and we get a feel for what's going on here. So very recently, the Jinam have escalated conflict instead of their normal just hostilities because the Ankarans supposedly assassinated the president of Jinam, but none of the people in Ankara think that actually happened. And 10 years ago, Jinam attacked the Ankaran mining operations on the core, and there's been bad blood ever since. So, like, it would make sense that they did it, but they didn't do it. And so, I guess if Jinam started the aggression twice, they're kind of the bad people here, but neither side is bad because it's all disguised anyways. But an NPC in town says that he saw that guy with the mohawk out by the ship to the east. So we head out that way and cross a singular bridge that takes 3 sprawling dungeons to do so. None of them are important. There's a cute little bit I'll bring up in my min moms, but other than that, it is just a real big dungeon for crossing a bridge. We make our way to the crash ship, and after some more casual wanton slaughter of Jinam soldiers, we find Grub, who's just chilling, looking at tech stuff. We walk up, he's like, "Oh, hey, Maya, what's up?" And it's cute, and I love him. Love Grub.
He's always on his bullshit. He's not like scared and lost. He's not looking for his friends. He's just like, "Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy." He's just having a good time. He's like, "Oh, hey guys." Fucking dumb.
So
maybe he knew that his stats were shit, so it would be better for him to just stay in one place and wait for us to come to him. Kind of like when a child gets lost, they're supposed to just stay still and wait for you to come find them instead of trying to go find you.
Yeah, it's hilarious. The NPC, I was like, yeah, I saw the guy with the mohawk. He was helping people out by the crash ship. And so I was expecting to come in there and he'd be like holding down the fort, like protecting some NPCs. But no, he's just looking at computers. He's just a fucking dweeb. I love him so much. So he found a holo recording, but he doesn't have a way to play it. And he comes with us because we're his friends. And so then we make our way to the Ankaran base nearby, and we meet Led, who's from the cover on Steam. And you can tell that she's supposed to be the manic mechanic dream girl trope, but the art's bad. So she's not cute. And you can tell they're trying to make her cute, and it's not cute. And her name is Led, which is not a cute name. No. So kind of fails on everything they're going to.
I think she's cute.
I love her. I stan her. I will fight you to the death over her. But it's just funny because it's not it's not. They were trying to make Kaylee from Firefly 2 years before Kaylee from Firefly, and it didn't work. Yeah. But love her. The voice actress I think is famous because I really recognize it, but I didn't look it up. But so she lost her legs in an accident when she was young, so now she has robo legs, and she's cool. Her dad is the commander dude of the Ankaran military. He's the one that we saw in the FMV earlier that was shouting war all over the place. She also has Runner, and Grub wins Runner back in that scene from Air Bud. It's straight up just that last scene
the part where
from
they're
Air Bud.
like, dog, come to me. No, dog, come to me. And then, and the dog does in fact go to Grub, which is a little sad.
And yeah, but Led is like, I wanted to force him to stay anyways, kind of like daggers in her voice of like, you're enslaving Runner, and it's kind of a weird vibe. Apparently
she really wants the dog.
Apparently it's flirting, as we'll find out in the weirdest fucking thing later. I'll talk about my men moms, but whatever. So Led has a holo message player, so we play the message, and Disguise's General Connor, you know, that really awesome fantasy name Connor, is reporting that the mission was a success, that they killed the Jinam president and made it look like Ankara did it, and they caused the whole thing. There's no time to lose, so we have to jump on Led's ship and go and take this message to her dad and stop the war, stop the war. But first, we have to do the other half of the crash ship dungeon to get an AE35 power converter, because it's a RPG and you have to have fetch quests. Mm-hmm. So we go and get it, and then Led, Maya, and Runner hop on her ship, and we barely make it over to the capital before we crash it again. In the capital, everyone is fucked and upset because the capital has basically been destroyed, and the fleet has left them all high and dry for some reason, and they don't know why. So we make our way into the military headquarters, and we run into General Scott, who has generic NPC male face but shoulder pads, so we know that he's important. We ask to see General Campbell, and Scott says that he's off on an important mission. His fleet has been sent to retrieve the Doomsday device from the research lab in the north. He means south, but his orders are to use it against the Jinam and bring this war to an end. And we're like, what's the Doomsday device? And they're like, oh, it's basically a giant rocket booster of some sort that will crash a landmass into a whole nother world shell. And they're like, that's bad. We should stop him.
Yeah.
And so,
it's like even worse than a nuke. It's like, yeah, we're going to literally genocide the entire other country, including the landmass that they live on. Although I should say, that's not what you just said is what happens. Spoiler. It's not what they say happens. So here's what they say the rocket's supposed to do. They say that it you attach these boosters, and the boosters grab the whole fucking continent, and then they blast, and basically it shoots it. They're vague about directions, right? Because when I think up, I think
what they say. Because I have the screenshot. It says, it fires a missile which embeds itself into the enemy's continent. From there, it will grow and create a gravitational field, raising the entire landmass to a higher orbit. And Led says, but that will kill every citizen of a Jinam. They won't be able to withstand those kinds of forces. They don't say it's going to smash it into the bottom of another shell.
The idea is just, it's a lot more scientific, right? It's a lot more sci-fi. It's like, by raising it to a different orbit, it literally the gravitation's going to get messed up, and basically the thing is just going to break apart, right? It's just going to break apart. I mean, I could see that happening to. Yeah, that just makes sense to me, right? You fuck up the gravitational field, and it's just going in different directions, and it goes. It just shears apart. But yeah, what ends up happening is a lot more simplistic than that, which is quite funny.
Yeah, so we play the holo recording for Scott, and he's like, oh, well, let me make a holo recording to Campbell so he'll believe that it's not faked or whatever. And we're like, why don't you just radio him? But they're like, oh, we're too close to the core because we're on the 5th level, and the core is the 8th level, so we're only 3 away from the core. And this close, radio waves go haywire, so they have to physically bring him the holo recording. So to do that, we have to head out through the subway to reach him in time. the subway has a really awesome optional item that I didn't do, but if you do it, you'll probably get lost like Maddy and Eli did. But
I did get it though. What is it?
It's it's one of the only accessories that raises your core. So you slap it on grub or lead and you get a permanent core upgrade, which is dope.
It's great. And I did.
So,
and it is.
Meanwhile, on Disgaea 2, Alliance of Vengeance is a flagship. We meet his new right hand. Now that Selena is not wanted anymore, and his right hand's name is Belcam, who has ugly ass mutton chops, and this art style renders them as like hair barrettes on the side of his face. It's fucking weird. He's a very weird looking man, but he congratulates Disgaea because the war will decimate the two forces and no one will stop them from getting to the core. His left hand, Caleb, comes in and says that his excursion to steal the keys from the Emperor and Gunner was successful. Disgaea says that his plan will cause an early conjunction and that they are so close, so they must prepare. Back with the party, we walk through the subway. I guess I had got that out of order when I was talking about it.
I mean, this is also happening simultaneously, so who cares when?
Yeah, who gives a shit? So we make our way through the subway and make it to the Ankarn research base, and we meet the oft-whispered General Campbell, who has no redeeming qualities, not a damn one.
No, he's
acting. Like, he even talks like a villain. Like he could say all the stuff he says, but say it in a way where, like, you know, like he doesn't know he's a villain, but he even like sneers his dialogue.
Yeah. And he's supposedly a good guy, but
that's the thing. That's why, like, if his voice acting wasn't so sneery, it'd be like, oh, this is a quote unquote good guy who quote unquote loves his daughter, but has clearly gone way off the deep end, right? Mm-hmm. But instead, it's just like, no, you're just bad. You just suck ass.
He sucks so bad. He spends the entirety of our brief time together berating the shit out of Led for leaving the hole he sent her to. He's like, go creepy girl, get back in your hole. And it's fucked up. And he brags about building the Doomsday device. And he's a good guy. Remember that. So he storms off because now is not the time for talking. And we're like, what do? We don't have a ship to stop him. And Selena shows up. She says that she can't stand by while Disgaea murders a literal world shell's worth of people, so he can get to the core, and she has to stop him. And she'll take us to Campbell so we can try and stop the Doomsday device. We get there and we have a boss fight, quote unquote, with some powered up versions of the mooks that we fought a bunch of times. And it is not hard at all.
No, it's really easy.
So we run to the bridge, but we are too late. Campbell has already deployed the Doomsday device. It is like a nuke that when it lands, it grows huge biomechanical tentacles that fuck up its gravitational field. And as we mentioned, slams it into the bottom of Shell 4 in an FMV. It's really cool looking. It's really fucked up. And
I just realized it's totally reverse Midgar.
It is.
Right?
Instead of crashing the plate down, we crash the bottom plate up.
Yeah. What if instead of sealing? So you've heard of sealing go down, but what this weapon presupposes is, what if floor go up? Really innovating in W&D technology.
Yes. So then in her best voice acting so far, Maya says, play the message, Led. And Led's like, it's too late, Maya. And she goes, play it. And so you play the message. Campbell realizes he just murdered a whole shitload of people, not in an act of war or desperation or anything that could have had even a slight excuse, but just as a pawn in Disgaea's game. And I feel nothing. This man is not redeemable.
No,
I don't give a
no,
shit.
Dude,
about...
you suck. You're a fucking lame-o.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
Once again, another bouquet of whoopsie daisies has been picked.
Yeah. So my notes, I was like, I feel nothing. That's how this little bit of a video game made me feel. Campbell has no redeeming qualities, and the hand that built the gun is just as guilty as the hand that pulled the trigger, and his hands did both, all while being a shitty dad to his disabled daughter. Fuck this guy. I'm so glad that Disgaea shows up and blows him up in a second.
And the funny thing is, the game did make me feel something. It's just, I think that they just overestimated how much they would make me feel hate for this motherfucker. And therefore not
I did feel something.
Sympathy.
White hot rage. Yeah.
Yeah. No sympathy at all. So Maya and the gang go to jump on Selena's ship and make it away to Shell 4, but before they can make it away, Disgaea calls in and sees Selena joining the enemy, and his people come in and steal the Doomsday weapon, which I did not notice while I was playing it, but it's there in the LP. So fuck, now Disgaea can make floor go up.
Yep, he can make floor. He has it, which is even more. It's just like, oh wow, this is, man, this. What's the general's name again? General Petraeus? Campbell. Colonel Campbell, man, he just like he could not have fucked up anymore. It's like you fucked up so much morally, but then not only that, you also just like fucked up like militarily, because now the big bad guys have the insanely fucking crazy thing that you made, you dipshit.
Yeah. Ugh, I hate him so much. So we make it to Shell 4, and it was apparently a super bumpy ride, but it all happens off screen. Corgan doesn't trust Selena, and I mean, why would he? She killed his family like 3 dungeons ago. Sorry, the bridge was 3 dungeons, so 6 dungeons ago. But while we're all yelling, Master Chief shows up. It's Gunner from the opening, and he still looks really cool, and he is still voiced by Master Chief. I didn't recognize it as Master Chief in the opening, but it is definitely Master Chief.
When someone tells you it's Master Chief, it is obvious. It's like, what if Master Chief was a fucking dork?
Yeah, love it. So apparently the Chosen, who aren't allied with Disgaea 6, I forget the subtitle, has been hearing about a junker that's been pushing it back against Disgaea, so Gunner has been trying to find her. She takes being a legendary hero in stride, doesn't even mention it, and just asks questions about what the fuck is going on. Love her. Stan Maya. She's great. So apparently Disgaea stole the keys and to make the conjunctions, and he has grown some lens ships that will bend the light around the shells to cause a conjunction early, so that he can take the power of the creator instead of his grandkids. Because like we mentioned earlier, it happens every 100 years. He's like, it needs to be in my bloodline. Just fuck, man. If you fuck, it'll happen in your, like, you could have just done this slow and easy way and just fucked for the next 50 years.
I think this is
and then it
cool,
would have happened.
Because I was complaining about 5 minutes before this scene, or like 2 minutes. Like, yeah, like, I don't get it. Like, the bad guys, the Chosen, they already I mean, this what we're about to see throws a little bit of maybe not so much on the fact that they're quote unquote the bad guys, but still, it's like this like master race ass Solarian from Xenogears ass over race. Like, they have the keys. They just and they're just, in 50 years they're gonna do the thing. They're just like, yep, only 50 more years now until we can ascend to the kingdom of heaven and fuck all these these lower beings. And I was like, that's kind of dumb, right? But then during this scene, I realized, okay, actually, it's cool. Never mind. Because no, this particular guy just is a selfish asshole who wants to like be God or something. So he just wants it. He doesn't want his children to have it or his countrymen to have it. He wants to have it. That's like a very simple, straightforward motivation, and it rules, actually.
Yeah, I like it a lot more than it seemed I would in the beginning.
Yeah, because again, I was literally complaining about it like a few minutes before, and then I decided, never mind, I like it.
especially because he just blew up one half of one of the world shells. I thought he was going to cause a conjunction by like blowing up some of the higher
that
ones.
Way the light gets through easier.
Yeah, I thought he was going to do it like that, but no, it's a lot more stupid ass sci-fi, and he's like using lenses and mirrors and shit to get the sunlight down, and I'm like, okay, twirl your mustache a little more. I like it a lot more. But so So Gunnar asks Maya to help him stop Disgaea by disrupting the mining operations for Corite, which is what the core is made out of. And Kara and Jinam both had extensive mining operations, and since he just killed everyone in both of those places, he now controls the mining operations. He's taken them over because he needs the Corite to make his lens ships. And so it's like our last ditch effort to stop the Death Star is to go fuck up his mining operations so that he can't get the ships. Maya is like, hell yeah, I'll do whatever I can to fuck up Disgaea's day. And Gunnar is like, cool. And so he turns to leave, but before he does, he's like, watch out for Selena, because she's still in love with Disgaea. She says, that's not true, ... End of the conversation. She joins our party though, so that's cool. And then we save for the week. Yeah, and we'll get to go do some cool shit, like getting a alien on our team, apparently, because that's what where we were going to stop last time.
Also, I gotta say, I was originally thinking when she first joined our party, or when she first like said, "Hey, I'll help you out in my ship" a little bit ago. I was like, what was I saying? I was like, it seems a little weird. Seems like we're a little quick to trust. Like she was bad and did a lot of that killing until like just now. Like it's fine. So I'm really glad that at the end someone acknowledges it and is like, yeah, she might not be trustworthy, because Maya sure didn't.
Yeah, definitely not. Corgan is like, you killed my family, and Maya's like, yeah, but we got a ride in her shitty ass ship and we nearly died on the way over here, so I think point goes to Selena. And it's great. But let's listen to one of the other battle tracks. None of them are as good as battle track 5, but they're all pretty okay. So we'll listen to one of them, and then we'll talk about our memorable moments. Min Moms. Maddy, you could start this week.
Yeah, I'll do a few. One is, man, it's really funny because characters have so much dialogue in this game. And every time you talk to an NPC, you can have each character say something individually, which is wild, except occasionally a character doesn't have anything to say. And what's funny is that it's rare enough. It's like, I don't know, like you're already, it's like they're like, it's like 95%. It's like, why not go the extra 5%? Right? Yeah. Like if the game didn't have party chat at all, that'd be fine. Makes sense. But the fact that it does have it, except just occasionally it doesn't, is funny. But anyway, each character has a I don't know what's going on line, and Corgan's is hilarious. He says, and I'm going to try and get his inflection correctly. He just goes, I have no knowledge of such things. And I find it very funny. In addition to that, I had two more. One, the Snow Mountain, despite being a pretty boring dungeon, is gorgeous. They start playing with the side view again, because the dungeon is a series of switchbacks. So on each layer through the switchbacks, you have both the background of the mountain and foreground rocks and stuff that are like in front of your path. It's really pretty. I always love a good snow level. I love a snowy mountain. It's just a good time. It's a good time, which is really good because I had to go through it twice and it's really easy. Finally, when we do the shenanigans that Sam kind of skipped over earlier because it wasn't that important, he's right, it wasn't. But at one point we go to South Farm and we need to get into the library back in town, and they don't tell us to go to South Farm. You just got to explore because it's like, well, there's nowhere else to go, right? So you go to South Farm, you start exploring, start talking to people, and you go into the room where my last week's Mem Mom was, aka the guy who's like, you mean my doohickeys? Who is really funny. I really like him. And this just really goes to show something cool about this game, which is that a character that I thought was just a bit of flavorful character writing from last week is a kind of minor important character this week. Because he we talked to him, and he says that there is in fact a secret passageway, a secret tunnel between here and the library. And as he says that, I realize that we're both standing on a giant metallic plate that has been there all along, by the way.
It's just a random grate. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, so I'm like,
whatever.
Oh shit, this is the tunnel. Holy shit! And it turns out it's right. Yeah, so he like built this tunnel, and I think he had been using it to like evacuate people or something from the town, which is again really cool. Just random, not important character. He does have a name, but like most of the NPCs have names. I don't remember what his name is.
His name is Maxon.
Maxon, there you go. Yeah, he's just like, and he has like a pretty good number of lines. Like, oh yeah, and like the characters know him, right? So Corrigan is all like Maxon, you know, and they're like they're talking like they know each other. Actually, I think there may even be a thing earlier where he's like, oh yeah, Maxon has a tunnel. Let's go talk to him. I don't remember when that happens, but it might be optional. It's probably optional. But I just thought that was dope. This game really does create like a world. It's quite neat. And the. Oh, I was going to say, and the final thing, but no, there's one more thing. I didn't write it down, but I thought of it just now. Give me 5 seconds and I'll think of it. Oh, yeah. As this is also just informing y'all, in case you don't know about this, there's an optional dungeon in this game, in this part of the game, and probably later, because you can probably come back later. As we've been mentioning, so far, every location we've been to has a bunch of places you can't go to yet. So there's going to be a lot of going back there later, right? So anyway, there's a forest on Shell 3. Over to the east of the towns. And when you go in, there's actually like 2 forests. The other one, nothing happens. In this forest, though, when you go, there's just like these 5 big stones or something. And if you click on them, if you do some pixel hunting and click on them, on the first one, a boss appears. And the first boss that appears isn't too strong. I managed to do okay. It was certainly stronger than a regular enemy, though. So it wasn't so hard that I even recognized it as a boss per se. But it was still pretty tough. Then I click on the second one without healing because I'm stupid. And out comes a palette swap version of that boss who's way harder. He's really tough. Luckily, I did have the barrier spell, and I managed to survive, though it was tough. Maybe like the toughest battle in the game thus far. And when I beat both of these guys, I got a soul stone, which is this game's version of a mega elixir.
Oh, nice.
Which is really, really dope. That's a really good reward. And I noticed there are 3 more rocks, so I saved my game. And then clicked on the 3rd rock to see what happens, and that boss showed up and immediately cast a spell that hit everyone in my party for 120 damage. So clearly there's 5 bosses here, and they are in ascending order of difficulty, right? The first one was probably easy because I could have fought him earlier, right? So yeah, it's cool. We got these optional bosses here. They probably don't all give Soulstone because Soulstone isn't an amazing reward. Like I thought it was pretty good because like, yeah, Mega Elixir, that's really rare, right? But in the next town that we just got to, I did explore the bar just enough to literally talk to a shopkeep, and they do sell soul stones.
Yeah.
They're really
expensive as hell.
They're expensive as hell, but they do sell them. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not getting like an unpurchasable item or anything, right? So maybe the later bosses will give you something better, right? But still pretty fun. If you're at this point in the game where you're ready to leave Shell 5, you should be, plenty leveled to fight it. So make sure to go fight both of them. Get yourself some soul stones. Just thought I'd mention that. That's all I got.
Cool. Speaking of shops, the gold curve in this game is not fine tuned, but it's kind of tuned the way that experience curves are. Where like in Dragon Quest, you get there and it's like, oh, you can get a club for 8 or you get a sword for 10. So you're going to go and grind out the extra 2 gold to give you that little leg up. Here, there's like the monsters you'll be fighting at when you're at club level will not give you nearly enough gold to get up to sword level, but by the time you are ready for sword, like it's just like go kill 2 monsters and you'll get the sword. So it's like you basically can just get what you can afford when you come into a new town, because you're not going to be able to grind up and get the next level without like freakish amounts of grinding. And it's weird, but I like it. Eli, what about you? Do you have some moms this week?
I really only have one. When Selena is talking to the group about helping them out at one point, like toward the end of it, she says, "Let's go." And then the characters just stand there for like 10 to 15 seconds. And I thought my game froze. They did finally move, but it was just kind of really hilariously poor timing.
Yeah. I thought, like, I was like trying to click around to do it as well. But
like, I need to do something here?
I must have been reading my Twitch chat or something, because I did not notice this.
Yeah, like they just stand there, and it's like menacingly. It's kind of like an awkward silence almost, and it's just very funny.
Speaking of Selena and animations, so when Selena first shows up as a good guy, right after you meet Campbell for the first time, every animation in the game breaks completely, and it's bizarre, and it's like subtle, and I just thought like, oh, my game had broke, but apparently the LP's like, no, it happens in everybody's game, and so if it happened to you, you probably just thought, oh, my game froze for a second, but no, it is extensively broken. So Selena walks up and says, "You can put that away. I'm not going to hurt you." Then lead disappears completely. Then Maya like double take turns around and then draws her gun by the time that Selena has already completely finished talking and saying to put that away. And it's just this weird, like glitchy mess that I only realized was like not me when I was writing my notes from the LP, and it's bonkers. There's some rough edges in this game, as you probably could guess, but I love it anyways. So a couple of them that I have one that's a quote that I love. In case you didn't know that this game was Star Wars, Disgaea kills Dugan from Wind City in a trash compactor, because Star Wars. But Disgaea, their little thing I thought was clever, even though it was just a Star Wars reference. So he's like, Dugan is like, "My lord, you wanted to see me?" And Disgaea is like, "Yes, guards, take him to the trash compactor and kill him." "What are you doing? We had a deal. Next time, read the fine print," which is a pretty good villain one-liner. I like it a lot. Then I have this is memorable because it's weird and I don't like it. But so Grub meets Lead, and the first thing she says is like, "Oh, hey, we can fly in my ship over there." And Grub is like, "I don't want to ride in anything a chick built." And you're like, what the fuck, Grub? It's fucking misogynistic, you asshole.
Did he actually say that? I feel like he just said, "I don't want to write anything that she built."
He says a chick built. And Maya is like, "Well, we don't have any choice," and it's fucked up. And so I'm like,
he has
Jesus,
a line that's
Grub,
explicitly insulting her as well, but I must have missed that one.
Yeah, and so I'm like, geez, Grub. Apparently, he hates this girl, but apparently it was supposed to be flirting, because after you go to get on the ship and you leave everyone behind, Lead is like, "Wait for me, okay, Grub?" And Grub is like, "Hey, Corgan, let's go check out this holo projector." And Lead's like, "Did he ignore me?" And Maya's like, "No, he's just preoccupied most of the time. He doesn't like me because of my cyborg legs. What man would? No, really, he just doesn't realize that you like him. Don't make excuses for him. He's not that great anyways. We've got work to do. Let's go." And I'm like, did I miss like an FMV where they like made cute eyes at each other? Because all Grub did.
He was just being a jerk to her. And then, so like when he said the thing about the chick, he was just being a jerk. But she likes him, is what's being implied. But he doesn't like, that's why she's like, he doesn't like me. And she's like, "Oh, no, he's just preoccupied by his machines. Now, she thinks that's bullshit because, like, she's a cute girl. Obviously, if he's not, quote-unquote, preoccupied by machines, he's just ignoring her because he doesn't like her. What she doesn't realize is that Grub is definitely just preoccupied by the computer because has she met Grub? No, she hasn't, so she doesn't understand this.
Yes.
No, I didn't see anything from Grub to her. I do think that she likes Grub, and frankly, I think it's really cute. I don't know. It's very much a tsundere thing because she's like, I hate you because I want this dog and you won't let me have it, but also notice me.
Yeah, it feels a lot like male nerds who have had single-digit girlfriends in their lives trying to write romance in their games. We see it in basically every RPG we've played on this podcast so far. Yeah. It just felt like this concept that just doesn't ring true at all to me of like, oh, instantly she's fallen in love with him and he doesn't even know it and all this crap. And it just stuck out to me so bad because I didn't even pick up that she even liked him at all while playing through it. And then there are more lines dedicated to her unrequited love than there are to what the fuck's going on in Jinam. So it's like bizarre, but whatever.
Oh yeah, I gotta say the whole Jinam Antarak thing was it was kind of hard to follow. Mostly because, well, this is on me, but I didn't hear what the town you start at in Shell 5 was. I didn't know what town we were in, and when I left on the world map, the most obvious thing I could have done is mouse over the town on the world map and see what it says, but I was too excited to get to the next dungeon. I didn't think about that. So I was like, I didn't even know which of the two countries I was in, like which one was which, and I kept getting it mixed up, and it's not really badly explained. It's actually a quite interesting situation. But like they just, I don't know. Most games, I feel like most games tend to over-explain things and treat the player like they're idiots. And in this time, I was like, no, I'm an idiot. You need to treat me like I'm an idiot. I'm not following this. But the main beats are pretty simple.
It over-explains things like my dad is General Campbell, and then it's just like one person is like, oh yeah, by the way, 10 years ago they like fucked up our mining operation and that's why we've been in war ever since. You're like, no, go back to that guy should get more time. I want to hear more about that sounds really cool.
Oh, also, final thing, did either of y'all ever get the item, the grenade or flamethrower items?
No, but I've heard they're really good.
So here's the thing. At the store, since the literal beginning of the game, there's been an item called grenade. Now, it costs $1,000. Now, when I see a grenade, I think a single-use item that you use, and it hurts the bad guys, right? Well, it costs $1,000, and I ain't paying $1,000 goddamn dollars for a single-use item. That's insane. I don't care how good it is. So I never bought it. No, it's not. Remember how the manual... Oh, I don't think I read the manual. The manual says that you can modify your weapons. That's what that is. It's a grenade launcher.
Oh, shit.
And it turns out that the reason why Maya doesn't have any special abilities is because if you look over at her character menu and her equip menu...
She has 5,000
She's got a billion little slots underneath her gun. Those are gun mods.
That's cool.
That's what it is. So it turns out that the gun mods, of which there's the grenade launcher and the flamethrower, are their alternate abilities that appear down there, and they use core points. So that's her cool. Fucking thing. I didn't get the grenade. I got the flamethrower because it was even better at the time. It's actually not that good though. I mean, like it's not bad. It attacks enemies in a group. It's an area attack. But the area is really tight. Like if the enemies aren't like up on each other, it's not going to hit them. And if it hits two of them, it's definitely worth the damage. It does great damage. Also, it is. I'm guessing the grenade's probably non-elemental, and the fire one's probably fire elemental. So of course, it's not useful all the time. But yeah, it's if she's doing like 70 damage with her strongest attack, the grenade also is level 3, and it'll do like 50, but it'll do 50 to like more than one enemy, so like that's pretty good.
Nice.
But yeah, but again, it's a little bit too circumstantial, and the MP cost is pretty low. Also, the new character who just joined, what's her name?
Selena.
Yeah, hot stuff. She also does have a gun mod slot, but just one.
Nice.
So that's neat. So just thought I'd put that on your radar because it's cool. It's a cool system, and look forward to using it more in the future. Hopefully with some, I guess you can stack them. I mean, she has so many. Maybe some of them make the gun better instead of maybe some of them are like passive or whatever. But yeah, when you're at the shop in the menu, look for anything that like it was obvious. Like the grenade little symbol was like a gun symbol. And it's in the section where everyone's weapons are. It's like, oh, here's 3 different swords for the sword guy. Here's 3 different wrenches for the wrench girl. Here's a grenade. Oh, that's in the gun section. This is a gun, right? But I didn't realize that before because I'm silly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's really cool. Speaking of wrench girl for lead, in battle, she is a not as intense grub, so she's not as good at core and she's not as bad at physical.
Yep.
But her repair for runner is a level 1 and not a level 2, so worth it in my book.
Oh wow, that
to
is
get
good.
a little bit better.
No, she's
a little bit better physical.
Magic
and
is still
pretty good coal.
Yeah, Magic is still underpowered in this game, so she's better than Grub. Basically, she's just Grub but better.
Yeah, love her. Yeah, but that's all that I got. So I've got to get back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my Nintendo 3DS. If you like what you heard today, you can check us out at www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to the show, help keep our lights on, pay for games, and all of that cool stuff. It has a link to our socials, most importantly, our Discord, where all of our precious babies live. Shout out to Teal, who had been away from the Discord for a while because of a lot of shitty life stuff, but now he's back and we love him. So thank you for coming back and hanging out, Teal.
Yeah, hell yeah. Glad to have you.
But yeah, as always, for RPG Book Club, I am Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I am Maddy Grace Webben.
Life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination. Have a good week, guys.
I have no knowledge
Toodaloo.
of such things.
So much has happened in 2 weeks. Like I was earlier when I was writing, I was like, and now we're so far into the game and we finally know what we're about. And I'm like, no, we're on episode 2 of probably 14. Like at the rate we're going, we're only getting about we've made it through 3 of their chapters, and I was hoping to be through with 4.
I'm starting to think this game is rather large and might have a very large sprawling plot line given the amounts that happened today, even though apparently we're still really early on.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.